Hey everyone, in this week's lesson we will be looking at how to create some responsive fluid design for one of our existing projects. So I have here a simple project. It just shows like a list of fruits and vegetables here. Then there's some content here with couple headings. Very simple HTML page. There's nothing fancy. There is nothing in the styles yet. But the idea is that we want to make this work no matter whether it is going to be a small device or a big laptop or a tablet. So this is called, like, I'm just flexing the screen now, resizing it. Because my content, there's not much going on, you really can see how it's going to look, um, you know, inside like a phone. So if you have like a lot of content here and images here and like headings all over the place, when you like flex your screen and like this is just basically we're testing, but if you are going to open that web page inside a mobile browser, you want to be sure that all of your content is still readable. So that is the main intention of a responsive web design. With HTML5 and CSS3, we have some really cool tools that are available to us. If we were to look at your content for this week, the very first thing that we would have to look at is the viewport. Viewport is basically a meta tag that we will be using. We will be placing this at the top of our HTML. This gives the ability for the browser to be able to capture the dimension and scaling of the page. So the browser will be able to figure out if this is the mobile device or if it is on a tablet or on a regular laptop. So not only can we get the width, we can get the height, we can get the resolution. So there are different ways that we can use the viewport to capture some of the device information. So the very first task is, now that I have my simple HTML, my very first task would be to go and put this in the header section, the head section of my HTML. So I just place this guy. So that's going to give me ability to capture the device width. Okay. But this alone is not going to help us. We also need additional content. So let's hold the thought for a second. The second concept, so you need to use viewport and you need to use media queries in CSS. Media query is nothing but a type of CSS. Media query is just a type of CSS. So you use it as add media. You can use screen or print. There are options here. And then you can check for either minimum width or maximum width or resolution. So all the attributes I talked to you about before, you can figure out if the orientation of the device is portrait or landscape. So depending on that, on all the things that you can capture using the viewport, whatever the viewport can capture, the media query can use. Okay, so that is the whole idea. So we will be using the add media. Okay, that is the rule that we'll be using for our CSS. So here, so let's look at some different types that are available for us. Like I said before, we can capture the width and height of the viewport. We can also get the width and height of the device. So when I say viewport, it's just saying like what is it that you're looking into, like what are you viewing through. So that's why it's called as the viewport. So we can get the orientation and resolution. So that's what's given here. So we saw like add media only, and then we saw like screen. You can also like use for printers or for other kind of accessibility situations. Okay. There is like a really nice reference for media queries all kinds of things that you can use with media queries. And you can go through this at leisure. For our purposes, we are going to just simply try a few options. So if we go into this media queries here, at the bottom of the page, this if you look here, there is like this is like a standard. There are like many breakpoints specified here depending upon like the different devices that we have. So instead of like trying to figure out the dimensions of every single device and then coding for it, we just want to take like a range of sizes for devices. So small phones usually will have a max width that's the 600 pixels, so they won't exceed 600 pixel. And then larger phones start at 600 pixels and go up. And then if you are at a 768, you are no longer a phone, you are a tablet at that point. 992 and 1200 are considered as laptops. So that is the breakdown here, and this is what we'll be using. I just made a copy of this and put in my styles. Okay, well, it's not going to do anything at this point unless we write code. So what this does is, if you want to like write specific styles for very small phones, you would do it here inside this first one. If you want to do for tablets, you would write the code here. For laptops, you would write the code here. Okay. Remember, as it is always true, CSS always has a hierarchy. Before we actually like use media query, there is something I want to do in this first. I want to like set this up so that there is fluidity in the design. As we've discussed before, divs are much more suitable for fluid web design than tables. So please make sure that you're using divs. So when you use divs, I am looking for a column layout here. So I want my apple, orange, banana to be in one line, pear, honeydew, and watermelon to be in the next line. So I want a 3-column layout. But for my veggies, I want a 4-column layout. So that is kind of what I want. So we have to create those columns using styles. So anytime you want to create a column, a set of columns, wrap all of that in a main div. You can think of it as a row. Okay. So first we want to make sure that we are using divs. A section is mainly used for semantic understanding of what the content is. Divs are used for stylized handling of content. Okay, because we are going to focus on styles, please use div. Sections come with their own formatting, so you don't want to. We don't want all of that. We want to stick to div. So inside we have a row that encapsulates all these 6 divs. Okay. So what happens right now? I want to have a 3-column layout. So before I do that, what I have to do is we are going to be like flexing the width of all of our divs. So just it's possible for us to have like padding and margin and everything else. So the regular width of elements are not useful anymore. Okay, we want to get the true width of an element. So in order to get a true width of an element, the first thing that we have to do is we have to put the box sizing border, the box sizing as border box. So what this does is, so please make sure that your HTML uses this as the first, your CSS uses this as one of the basic styles.